Hi there, I'm Sylvia Plester-Silk, and 10 Minutes to Joy is your weekly invitation to reset, recharge, and rediscover your most joyful self through aha moments and simple energy techniques. Today, we're talking about saying yes to challenging yourself. Hi, let's get started. When I'm talking in today's podcast about challenging yourself, I'm not saying in the old work harder, do it better, you got to challenge yourself. No, I'm talking more from the zones. So what can happen is we get caught in our comfort zone. And this is where it's so comfy. It's like those old smelly slippers we may have had, maybe not in full disclosure, hint, hint, that are kind of look ragged, have some stains on them, and might even be a little stinky, but oh my God, they are such fabulous things to put on when you get home after the day. Okay, so we can stay in our comfort zone, and what becomes the challenge is we often stay stuck in our comfort zone and we don't move out into the next zone, which is the growth zone. For so many people, the growth zone seems really scary. It's scary because what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? And all of these human insecurities that we all have show up. Yet, when we go in the growth zone in our own way, so it's not like you have to go into this growth zone because your boss is telling you should, or you think you should be this, or your parents have given messages that you're doing. Like I met some people that went to university as a social worker to please their parents. It wasn't their own path that they chose for themselves, which can be quite sad in terms of not feeling the real oomph and value and excitement for that career. They are very good at what they do. It's just I'm not sure that it was their first choice. And that makes me feel a little sad. And because I know there is so much joy when it is your first choice. Once we go through the growth zone and we get used to growing in ways that we want to grow. So let's say that you've never sewn anything in your life and you want to learn how to sew a purse. But if you stay in your comfort zone, that says, oh, I can't do it. I'm not a sewist. It's not possible for me. However, if you go into your growth zone, that could involve simple things like simply going online and watching some YouTube videos. It could be looking at what courses are available at different sewing machine stores or in continuing education in your area. Okay, I'm using a really limited example perhaps, but you get the idea. What is it? Just the growth zone is how do you start to become curious about what you want to achieve or learn? And so that expands. Once you move into the growth zone, what actually happens is the comfort zone expands. And once you become really comfortable in the growth zone, you can actually switch into what's called by Gay Hendricks, the zone of brilliance. And this is where there's this incredible mixture of energies. I love what I'm doing. I'm excited by what I'm doing. And I get a ton of joy about this experience, whether it's a hobby, it's a career, it's a lifelong trip or dream. I'm going to Vienna and Germany in December, and I do not speak German. So I can stay in my comfort zone, which is I don't speak is German, pardon me. However, if I do that, I'm actually not in my comfort zone when I get to that country. So I'm moving into my growth zone and I've hooked up with Duolingo and I'm starting to learn a little German so that I can get there and at least attempt to speak their language. Hope they don't feel disrespect when they hear my enunciations. And anyway, it's possible, but doubtful around language, that I get into my zone of brilliance in German, but I'm willing to take the risk that I do and that I don't. In any event, what is it for you that you would like to do? I know back in 2019, when I wanted to go to Machu Picchu, and that was a bucket list item, I wasn't a good hiker. I hadn't been in high altitudes in that way. I hadn't hiked up a mountain and down a mountain. So what did I start to do? I started to research it. Okay, so this is what's involved, and this is how many hours we'd be doing. And then I have to be honest, I lied to myself and my friend. We chose to lie to each other and say, okay, well, we probably only would be hiking, maybe like 6 hours a day. Some days we doubled that and did 12 hours of hiking. In any event, I really challenged myself that year. I got out of my comfort zone. I had never gone to somewhere and traveled with a knapsack, knowing that I could might have to carry everything in my knapsack as I hiked. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. I had never gone to Peru. I didn't know about it. I didn't know what I'd experience in high altitudes, and it was tough for me. I could either breathe, or I could digest food, or I could walk. You choose. I, I could, I, s- so while I struggled, what happened was that whole trip, I oscillated between being in my growth zone and my zone of brilliance. I had those beautiful moments where I would just sit and look, just pause often for breath to catch my breath, and I would just look at the splendor of the mountains, and I'd feel the energy of the mountains, and it was spectacular. And each day when I got to camp and I was exhausted, I was also elated because I had accomplished something that was very difficult for me, very challenging for me. And I came to see another side of myself, of what I'm actually capable of. I am capable of doing difficult things. And even when I think and I question myself and my doubts come in, can I do this? What if I fail? What if, what if, what if? Well, here's a new what if. What if you succeed? What if you succeed in a way that's success for you, irregardless of what other people think, feel, or do? Because it's when we click into our internal values and what is so important to us and what we really want to do that we can create that zone of brilliance for ourselves and look back and realize, wow, we are truly capable of so much more than we ever thought we were capable of. Powerful, eh? So I ask you, what is it that is on your bucket list or you really want to do list that you think you can't accomplish? And maybe you think you can't accomplish that because you don't have the money. You might think you can't accomplish it because you don't have the skill. Well, I'll tell you the darn truth. In 2019, I did not have the money to go to Machu Picchu. Yet somehow I ended up flying there first class. I started to put bits of money away. And then the girlfriend that I traveled with actually upgraded us. And it was like, how is it possible in one of the worst business years of my life that I ended up flying for the first time, first class? I thought I couldn't do the hiking. So I got a personal trainer and I trained for 9 months to prepare me for the exhilaration and exhaustion. So bit by bit, I moved out of my comfort zone into my growth zone so that I could be at Machu Picchu and have said, yay, I did this. I went to the highest, uh, what's the word I want? Altitude that I've been in my life. The picture of it has me clinging on the flag, uh, but I did it. I did it. And at 50, whatever I was, I did it with a group of 20 somethings and I succeeded. To me, that's pretty incredible. And you can hear it in my voice even when I talk about it now. It takes me from an everyday job, everyday mood to a wow. And again, I feel the joy of it. So, whatever you've been putting off that you would really desire from your heart's content, please take steps to become curious. What skills would you have to learn? How might you learn them? And start to take steps so you shift from that comfort zone into the growth zone and you can discover areas of your zone of brilliance because it's fabulous and you deserve it and you are good enough and you can do it. Have a great week, everybody. That's a wrap for today. Remember, small moments create big changes. Keep growing, keep shining, and I'll see you next Friday on 10 Minutes to Joy.